Louise has been hands-on with the incredible Doom Eternal, and she loved it. Keep watching to find out why. Right then, Louise, Doom Eternal, exciting.
Yes.
Tell me about Doom Eternal.
So yes, Doom Eternal is it's the doomiest Doom that I think has ever doomed. It is so Doom. Doom Eternal will be Doom Infinite. I will play Doom forever. So basically, Doom Eternal, I played a section that's apparently about halfway through the game, which meant that there was all of the mechanics were there for me to practice, which meant that I went through a bit of a tutorial, which was initially just here's how to fire your guns, but then very quickly it was here's how to use the flamethrower that's parked over your left shoulder, or here's how to do a glory kill, which is a really gory, ridiculous kill that you can do on kind of weaker enemies, which will then build up a meter, which you can then smush up even more enemies. Or here's how you use your chainsaw, or your remote detonated rocket launcher, or even here's how you do a double jump, or here's how you do you go on monkey bars, so there's a swinging monkey bars, or here's how you climb a wall. So all of that was in my tutorial. So suddenly I was very much faced with everything by the time I actually got into it. And I mean, it was a brilliant demo in the fact that initially you realise that Doom doesn't mess around. You know, Doom doesn't suffer fools. You very quickly have to learn exactly what type of kills you have to get in order to get something. So if you want health, you'll do glory kills. If you want armour, you'll do something. If you want this, you'll do that. So not only do you have to kill the enemies that are relentlessly surrounding you, whether you've got those traditional sort of Doom demons or something a little bit more interesting. So at the same time as having to think about all these enemies that are surrounding you, you constantly have to think about what you need, what you'll get for them, so you're constantly mixing things up. And initially it feels, I mean, I've been playing a lot of Rage 2 recently, so obviously Rage 2 is quite forgiving in terms of its shooting. It gives you kind of superpowers. Now you'd expect Doom to do the same thing, and Doom does give you superpowers, but you have to think about things in a slightly different way. So initially I was doing a lot of dying and thinking, why am I dying in Doom? But suddenly you realise you have to think in Doom. So you've got all this incredible heavy metal music, and then suddenly it just clicks with you, and you're suddenly roasting demons with this flamethrower. You're jumping onto those monkey bars and then landing on things at the same time as doing glory kills. You're sticking shotguns in mouths. You're sawing off heads. Things are exploding. You're taking, enemies down the middle with chainsaws. And all of this is it's this kind of dance of absolute doom death, where you're dodging from things, and giving you all of these tools means Doom isn't just about guns. Doom, I did a platforming sequence on Phobos where I was flying through the air and had to do double jumps and suddenly had to grab onto rock walls to climb them. And it reminded me of something like Tomb Raider, where you had to grab onto the wall with your axe. It was something you suddenly felt like you were reacting to an environment instead of just being funneled down corridors. So what Doom Eternal has managed to do is really just open things up. So it feels open, it feels exciting, it still feels like Doom, but again, it's just this entire mass of, everything is moving, everything is crazy, everything is bigger and better, and it's constantly giving you new guns that, make things explode even better. But I cannot stress enough, just even in a small arena, exactly how it just feels so exciting to be able to jump between the guns and your knife blades and your chainsaw and just feel how it goes. It's so crunchy, and I've never felt the sort of rush anything quite like that in a Doom game before. It's really exciting.
A little bit like a religious experience, the way you describe it, Louise. It's like a really violent religious experience. But,
it is the most violent religious experience. This ascendance of absolute gore, and it was that when you're playing a really good game and you're literally laughing and you're sort of cackling with the ridiculous glee of the fact that you're exploding demons and you're making everything die in the best possible way. It was that, and also I really like the fact that instead of just obviously shooting things, you can aim at specific bits. So some enemies have like machine guns on each arm, so you have to aim at each one of them to take it out, and it's little moments like that where you're having to be strategic. You're not just spraying guns everywhere. That's just not going to work in Doom Eternal, you have to think. You have to think about where you're going, you have to kind of plan, and constantly you have to keep moving. You have to be a shark. Doom will not let you stay in the one place, or it will annihilate you. So you just need to make sure that you annihilate everyone else first. But yes, I like Doom Eternal.
I can tell, Louise. I'm getting that vibe. It's subtle, but I can tell.
Yes.
Going back briefly to the stuff you were saying about platforming, obviously, I think a lot of people hear the word platforming in the context of a first-person shooter and start to get a little bit worried. But I take it in this case, there's nothing at all to be worried about.
No, not at all. It's not one of those horrible things where you feel like you have to constantly look at your feet. They have given you the challenge of getting from sort of floating arena platforms to arena platforms, but there are ways across if you use your jump and your dash sufficiently. There's also areas that have like almost like springboards that sort of spray sort of smoky stuff that you know that's going to boost you in a certain direction. You know, it's that kind of trajectory and crossing things. You don't have to worry about looking at your Doomslayer feet.
So, final question, Louise. How long are you going to have to wait before you actually get to play Doom Eternal properly?
Well, thankfully, unlike all the other games that I appear to have played at E3, Doom Eternal is out this year. It's actually out November 22nd, 2019.
Let us know if you want to know more about Doom Eternal, and hit that like button if you can't wait to slice hell's minions in half. And as ever, remember to subscribe to Logitech G and hit that notification bell now so you know when our next video lands.